So
Did one vote make a difference?
doesn't matter.
East Timberlake Fire.
No
but
person
this is-
shall be denied.
So that you know how I find out about those things? Just like this right now.
Sure.
Otherwise, I have no way to.
Who should I send to Teresa? Okay.
All right, it is 1 o'clock and we are here for budget workshop at the assessor's office. With that, we'll turn it over to the assessor.
I'm going to start with DMV this morning, if it's okay. Okay,
Can I ask you to use the microphone? It doesn't pick up good. Thank you.
so in DMV general budget, we'll start in revenue. We have a change there, and that would be in 5850. Duplication fees. That was increased based on the 3-year average.
Let's wait 1 second so we can pull it up on
Yeah,
the screen.
I'm sorry, which line item was that?
It's 5850 in 126.
So it was negative 3,000.
Well, that's because it's revenue.
So
there-
you're, say again what you're doing? Can you say again what you're doing now that she has it up?
We're increasing.
The expected revenue.
Yeah, 5850.
Oh, okay.
And the next one for a change would be 5870. We're increasing that also based on the 3-year average.
So let me make a comment here. Thank you for putting the notes in there, because that's one of the things we've been asking people to do, is to put the notes in that box to show the changes there.
Next, we have 5890, and there's going to be a $1,000 loss to the internet renewals. We experienced the same thing last fiscal year. We lost $1,000 because the state offers renewals online.
Oh, okay. Didn't realize where that came from.
And then 5,900 title fees reduced based on the past 2 years' average. And 5,920 increased due to the state's ITD changes regarding temporary registration. 5,950 increased based on the past 2-year average.
Assessor, I'm sorry, can we go back for a moment?
Sure.
To the, let's see, title fees, 5,900?
5,900.
Is there any other information with regard to, that
Why it was
delta?
reduced?
Just trying to, do you guys have any other data points as far as the $15,000 fluctuation from?
I think they were basing it on prior years. So in 2024, when we created that estimate, they had been ticking up a bit. And then we didn't see that level of increase in '24. And it doesn't quite look like we're gonna get there this year either.
Okay, so I know that's helpful. Now that I see the actuals, that's a lot more steady than what the budgeted variations were. Okay.
Correct.
And
Thanks.
then, Assessor, can I ask you to slow down, because she has to pull up
Oh,
each
sure.
one so that online they can
We
see.
appreciate efficiency.
Sorry,
We understand you want to get out of this, but then the
I got 2 more to
community,
go, so,
the community can't see, the community can't see what we're doing.
okay.
Thanks.
So are we back on 5,900 or?
That's
think
where
we're-
the screen is now, if you want to move.
Okay, want to go to 5,920, please? And that was increased due to state ITD changes regarding temporary registration. Moving forward, 5,950. Increase based on the past 2-year average.
Or you can, will that help you if you see his numbers in?
Maybe, I'm just gonna click through.
Just click through,
Yeah.
okay.
If you wanted to see the historicals there.
Yep.
Are we good on 5,950?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then moving on to 5,990, increased by 20% based on current year trend. Any questions
This
on
year,
revenue?
You've already spent more than that in postage this year? Do you think you need to go up more than the 240
Well, so we're talking
postage?
about two different things. So this is postage coming in,
Okay,
which we get from, like, when we do, like, stuff over the phone.
got it.
So that's coming in.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
And then there are no other significant changes. I'll just note at the bottom of page 3 of the handout I gave to you that for the grand total, we're looking at a 7% decrease in the overall budget. Jolene, did you have anything to add?
Okay, before we go to her, can I ask you a question on the
Sure.
decrease? It looks like some of the fluctuation has to do with the state taking over, pulling funds from the budget, not that and so there's a loss of revenue here. And so when we're looking at that, is there, one of the things I know that you had mentioned as a group wanting to kind of get communication to our community about versus doing online versus coming into the DMV and how the fee structure changes. Have we seen any difference? Have they really impacted that, or do you feel like that really hasn't?
As far as, like, reaching out to the community?
No, have you seen that people have accepted the idea of coming in versus doing online so that the DMV gets service, the money versus that?
We've got a few that we notice, like a few businesses that will send all of their stuff in. But it's hard to compete with a $9.50 savings going online. I mean, this day and age, I mean, as much as we try, you know, the truth is $9.50 is, you know, a carton of eggs. So,
Okay.
so I mean, as
So
much
I
as
just
we've
wanted
tried-
an update on that because we talked about it last time about the leakage from the budget associated with what the state's movements are. And so if that's continuing to be a steady, it'll continue to be a steady decline then most likely. Okay, that was my only question on
And
that.
I might add that can be an additional cost to us. We lose the fee because they go online, but I don't know what the percentage is, but there are a number of transactions that aren't accurate. And the only way for those people to correct that is to make a physical visit. So we end up spending more time fixing what went wrong when they dealt with the state than if we had handled the thing initially
We don't get the fee,
and we don't get the fee.
of course.
Thank you.
And then, so you guys don't generate with your structure any office expenses, or, I'm trying to understand, I don't see any of that showing up in here.
There's another, as far as like my expenditures?
Yeah,
Do they pull out of a different,
Well, so there's three parts that we should have. We should have you have to go, this is what I don't like, go back.
what's the board?
She's got 3 different numbers that we
Yeah,
have
I've
to look
got
at.
3
This is what their
different,
income is, that she's
I
showing you
don't know off the top of my head. I mean, I just know
what she's
when I
thinking is
pull it
going
up.
to be in her budget. Then
Sure.
we have to go to where we're going to spend for her, what you're talking about.
so we have different org numbers.
No, he only gave me the one for the DMV.
There's one for
There's,
We have a priest, or a standpoint, and then a priest river for expenditures.
Oh, so they break out?
Yeah.
Sorry, can you?
Yeah, that's
on-
odd.
Is it on there?
Not on this
Like
one, no.
shirts.
Yeah.
So I always just go to, I believe it's, if you scroll down
Mm-hmm.
just a hair, I just go in that way to the one that will say motor vehicle Sandpoint, and then the next one will say motor vehicle Priest River.
So it's set up this way just because we chose to do so at some prior time, not because it's a statutory requirement?
Because it's always been done that way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I
It's
love
always-
that answer.
Because the clerk wants to come and grab this microphone. Because we do,
For next time.
well, because the follow-up question too, we're doing it this way because it's always been done this way, is why are we not
Does it
doing
make
it
sense?
differently
Yeah.
in a way
Well,
that
we
makes
just
more
might.
sense? So as we go through the budget, can we look at what it looks like to not make it this way?
So I found a fantastic opportunity for change is with a new comptroller rolling in and a new board of commissioners rolling in. It's always the right time to make, seriously, right time to make changes.
So I heard yes.
That we can make changes?
No.
As to how we organize it.
Let's
Can we
evaluate,
change- Can we
yeah.
look at how
We'll
this
look
is
into
done
it.
to
Is
do
this
it the best way
to do it?
possible?
We'll form a committee on it,
No.
run
No,
a red through
we're
red
not doing a
tape, the
committee
government's.
and we're not doing a workshop. It's just look at what the best way is and work with them, and if this is the best way, then we do it, and we say this is why we're doing it this way versus something else.
As we get to the end, yeah, let's revisit that. Like, does this work well for you guys?
Breaks it.
01261 and 01261.
Thank you.
Well, Jessica's looking for that. I'll address our A budget and
No,
point-
no. Because she's got to bring it up, because it's
Oh,
an
she's gotta
open,
be there.
yeah,
Thank you.
sorry.
You need
We
a separate
just-
screen.
We're n- I know, we'll get there. People gave feedback when we did our first one, there was nothing on the screen, so they couldn't see what we were looking at, so we're trying to put up,
Okay,
Stuff.
we found it.
go.
So as far as, which one?
Travel. We're on
Travel, so this would just be, so I pay pre-server mileage, going to the bank, and if I recall, we didn't make any changes on
No,
this
you're
one.
not making any
Yeah.
changes.
I don't think we made a lot of changes.
So we're on 127?
This, no, it's 01261. And your report's not gonna be there because I didn't download it. So you'll have to look at the screen with the rest of us.
It's different every time. I think there's a
Well, there
normal
are
way to
some
do it, and I find out it's not.
unique
We're gonna lose that small county feel if we change it.
So office supplies would be next.
So again, we just went, looked at where we've been trending on this one, and we did reduce on this one.
On the small assets and equipment.
Same thing, just kind of looking at areas that we could reduce by. This one I have this year, just this month, made some purchases for this line, but we did go ahead and reduce it.
Could you provide some comments about what types of equipment you guys are considering small assets? That would be helpful.
So this one, I just bought, what fell under this one would be a new office chair.
Okay.
Stuff, that's in
So,
office, that
Office
stays.
furniture type, yeah, so if you could just add a note, because what we're trying to do is create consistency with definitions because we have a lot of the same lines, right, line item descriptions for multiple departments, but some people have used different definitions, and we're trying to create as much consistency. So what we've done sometimes is, for some departments, we've actually moved some of their funds into a different line that's actually more correct from a definition perspective, just for
Which mine
consistency.
could use that.
And I think what you're describing right now makes sense, but if we could have a few notes to state the types of items that would be purchased.
So just go in.
Exactly, if you
and
could just
make-
add some comments in there, that would be helpful.
We bought one chair that was
gotcha. But I'll just give you a simple example. One department, they were using this to purchase things like laptops. And so it didn't seem like it was in the right category, so that was an opportunity for us to discuss that and move that into the right line item.
Same thing, so each month we have a bill from Canon, so this one, we went through, this is use and maintenance, right?
Yeah.
And so it used to be that we had copiers that were not under contract, so we had a line if and when things happened. Both of my copiers now are on contract. So it's just the use, which is what I use over for my printing. So we did go ahead and reduce that line.
This is the office equipment repairs.
So let's think about this. So, and is there anything out of this one? Sorry.
Not a lot, no.
So this,
I think it's kind of there in case you need to have somebody come out and
which,
service.
yeah, again, we've kind of had it there for the time when something does go not well. We updated this one just per contract for what our lease will be for the next year.
So you guys have an
For the
updated
building,
contract.
for the facility.
Yeah, I've got a contract that's 10 years, so just to be thinking, I think I have one more year on this contract. Just to get the- Publication, so we use what we call the DMV Bible. It's a very large book that we have to order every year. I order 2 of them, one for Priest River and one for Ponderay. And like everything else every year, they just keep going up and up and up.
Wait, I'm sorry, can we go back for a minute?
Yep. So the
All right, so,
the second line was
Moving from
probably
miscellaneous.
from a prior year.
okay,
Yeah.
We're not removing any text.
So she's just bringing it up to what it cost this year.
yeah, okay. So that was the second note,
Yeah,
okay.
that's why we haven't put the full date now.
That's why I was getting confused, it was like 258, and I don't know, okay.
I'm glad I'm consistent of when I do this.
Yeah.
This is, when you're talking about, separating and stuff, this is a line that could, and it's been for several years talked about, we would take this line and kind of categorize it better. And it still sits as miscellaneous.
Yeah, because if there's, it looks like you have some utility costs in there,
Water and shred.
It's literally a catch-all.
so the preference would be, what we've been trying to do with all the departments is, if you can define it, then let's move those dollars into the right line item, because it's been defined. If we can't define it, and it's truly something that could just come up unexpectedly, then that is miscellaneous. We should have a dollar amount in miscellaneous, a low amount for the things we can't predict. But if we can define it, because it's a regular cost, then we should just move it into the right category and have the right dollar amount associated with it, is our preference. To your point, because we don't really want to catch all, we want to,
Yeah, and it has, year over year, it's like, yeah, we should do something with that.
We'll get it done.
so is there a utility or?
There's a utility other.
So we can move the water into that. And then I would think the shredding would probably fall into an office. What category do we have?
I'll look and see.
Okay. Can't
Are you in
remember
audit
what.
form?
What?
Can you audit her note?
Yeah,
Can you just put an R in there for,
shred.
yeah. She's shedding paper at the DMV.
Well, I'm getting rid of it, so.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
Oh, well. just
After you
the-
shred it,
Drinking water, not drinking water.
I think so. I think it probably is
Oh,
for a
okay.
bottled water service.
gotcha.
So I'll look and see
There
what
is
some of
an
the other
object for
departments are.
bottled water.
So we can.
So
make
probably
that
office
adjustment.
supplies would be, right?
I would think so.
And then I think there should still be, at least a $500 in miscellaneous, just because it's something that we can't define. But then if we know what the actual costs are for the shredding service and the water service, then we should put those actual dollar amounts into the office supplies line.
And those are never the same, though,
The shred,
as
because the
far,
volume of.
well, and it just depends because mine's on I-call basis, so it's not on a reoccurrence, it's only when I call, so I wait till it is plumb full. Yeah, so I mean, depending on what's going on, towards the beginning of the next year, I get rid of all the stuff, so
Yeah.
sometimes I have two like close, but other than that, I just wait until it's overflowing to call. So as far as knowing, X amount of shreds per year, I mean, I could kind of look at
Yeah, maybe just look at the last
Average
2
or
years
something?
for an average and then
Okay.
round up to the next 100 and,
Okay.
yeah.
I think when you have the variables within your budget, it's okay to give yourself a cushion so that you know it might be less or more after you get your average, but to identify more of what we're spending is what our goal is when we're looking at lines, especially when we have miscellaneous when we can find something. Because one of the things we're not opposed to this cycle is actually adding the line that you need to document what you're spending. So there's no reason not to add it as a service.
6910 would be bottled water.
Does the county as a whole get a discount for bottled water? Or is it department by department that orders bottled water? I don't know how,
I don't know that either. I don't think.
do you know that? 'Cause
Certain,
In the
like
very,
our building.
in the very beginning, I called, each department has their own account, but they gave us a discounted amount on the Clearwater Springs versus the Culligan, and so I sent out an email to everybody to switch to the Clearwater Springs. And it's just been consistently the same price for 8 years now.
Wow.
They
Don't
did
t- don't
add
tell
they
them.
did add a
Well,
fuel
there could be a
surcharge.
reduction though, because.
But,
if
I mean,
uses-
other than that,
Okay.
I think it's like $6 a bottle and $6 a cooler rental.
It sounds like we're getting an organization price and then they're subdividing out to the different departments.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't individuals, there was a bulk.
Individual
option, so, yeah.
contracts, right.
Can we, since we haven't looked before, similar to how we've said on all things, can we do a review of comparison price to make sure that there's not as an individual budget for organization, that we're still getting the best rate, please? Thank you.
Capital lease expenditures.
So this was just my Sandpoint copier lease.
So if we could just add that it's the copier, it says that it's a multi-year contract, but we don't know for what. Thank you.
And then I will go to
You guys lease any other equipment?
162.
Is that the only equipment you lease? I don't want to make the mistake, some offices have unique equipment that I didn't know about, so.
Which was no changes. We left it at the 300.
Is that primarily paying for paper?
Yeah, like staples. I mean, now I use Amazon, but anything, yes, like that. Sticky notes, tape,
Like paper for the
clips.
copy machine? Or is that coming out of a different budget?
It's stationary. Knock on wood, pretty much everything that we do comes out of our state copier. I mean, is state stuff, and so state pays for the paper.
Okay.
That's why it's so low.
From time to time, I do order cases of paper, just because we do have county printed stuff that we're, should be paying for, but majority of everything that we print is state, so they supply that for us. This same thing, like office chairs, the standing mats, anything along that. And as we noted in there, I just got a report back today they had Alicia with SIF come in and do a, like a,
Ergonomic.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we will have changes that need to be made. One of them, which will come out of that line that I just bought, was a new chair that Tracy needed.
Can I pause you for a second? Can we not say the name of someone? Because since you mentioned SIF, I don't know.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Thank you.
They just came in and did a general view of both offices, because they came to mine also. So there will be items on there that we need to look at addressing. So for now, we didn't make any changes on that. I was hoping to have the report back from them sooner than now, so that we could look at possibly an increase that needs to be there to make some changes to get everything.
You can update
Just
it.
a caveat, let you know, see $700 of changes that we have to make, and if we can't find it somewhere else, the budget may have to go back.
Well, I have the question that I have on that is to review, are you guys talking about general ergonomic assessments, which at state level states do often, or if it's a claim-specific ergonomic assessment for a return to work, that's a different thing. So when you're coming from, if you're talking about the latter, that's different. If you're talking about just in general a state that says from if it's a generic type of a review, can we distinguish between that? And so the next time we have that discussion, is it specific to an event? Because there's a different answer that you get on those, and a different way to extract money from one versus another.
Because the expenditure we've made already is based on.
Latter, you made it out of your budget.
I mean, I haven't paid the bill yet.
Let's not pay the bill. Let's talk about that after, please. Yeah. So,
If we could just have a general note again that is primarily used for office furniture and ergonomic equipment, that'll be helpful for us to know.
Yep. So they don't, Priest River office doesn't have courier service, so anything that goes out of that, that's why we have postage, but it has trended lower. So again, a spot we were able to extract. This would be the price for copies. Again, it also used to be, because that was not under contract. So what it was trending, we went ahead and reduced it.
That's for what you described earlier as the actual county affiliated printing versus state affiliated, sounds like.
No, so that would be like on our copy, so our Canon copy machine, which is county.
Right,
So
county
the state-
use.
Yeah, the state
Yep.
takes care of.
That's why it's a low cost, because it's a county use associated.
Good old catch-all. It's anything which we'll go in and add the notes on that. Priest River shred, Priest River water. We went in and were able to reduce it by $100.
professional services other though? Is that what that,
Find a new GL line.
Yeah.
and I think that is there a reason that this account can't mirror the titles that the other ones are, so that
It's always been this way.
There's no reason.
Now I don't know if I'm actually
Opportunity for
sick of this
improvement.
job is-
That's how it came to me
Losing
and that's
life.
how it's been.
Okay. That's gonna be the first thing
actually
I
have a-
say in my budget presentation. The one thing we accept is we are no longer saying it's how it's always been.
So this is the copier lease.
Yep, so every, just the lease itself, we pay out of this one, and then the actual copies, we paid out of the other one. And I think that's probably the bottom of that one.
Yep. And is that it for you, Jolene, or was it?
Yeah.
Who's next?
Use GIS.
Should I pull this one or? Waste my
It's in
time.
there, no. This one's straightforward.
Oh, you said that out loud.
It is straightforward.
Can you give me the org, please?
00124567.
00124, GIS.
Thank you.
The hardest working department that gets the least visibility in the county is GIS, I think. I think you guys support so much of, especially road and bridge and all their little layers.
So we have review fees. I think I had 35,600 this year, or 35,060. The major reduction in that is that we do reviews for addressing, and we had historically done reviews for land records for parcel stuff. The two land records people got moved into Dennis's budget, so I want their review fees to go into Dennis's budget. So that's around 12,000 that's going to Dennis's budget.
12,500.
Yeah, so that's the reduction there. We're basically,
You want to reduce this one, the GIS review fee,
yeah, I thought I had that reduced.
by 12,000?
12,500.
It should be at 35,060. What I should have had of that.
And then wait, can we put the text in there, please? Thank you.
Yeah, the math is a little.
Yeah, we're slightly above last year's. It should be at 35,060.
And $60?
Yeah.
And then explain what he's moving it because the two staff members are taking the money that.
Yeah, so there's a portion of that, basically the difference in that is the land records reviews. So this is the addressing reviews.
Thank you. That way it explains why
Yeah.
instead he's not just donating money to the other side. There we go. Thank you.
Encroachment, why?
You're not the first department that said they've gone in and made edits.
Yeah, I made edits. It
Didn't
shouldn't be
say-
at that. It should be at 1620. We're at 63% compared to this time last year, and just based on last year's numbers. It's kind of our projection. So yeah, that one is wrong as well. That one should be at 80,860.
And then is this based on the year-to-date?
Yeah, we ended up last year at 89,000. We're at 90% compared to last year.
Assessor. Did you want to release DMV?
Oh, yeah.
I just don't want to run a.
You had that look, like, can I leave? I don't
She
want
was
to be
blinking
rude.
him a message like.
No, I wasn't even, he read that and I didn't even have.
I just read her expression on her face. She was kind of
Thank
like, I'm stuck.
You should have said that's.
Okay, road names, was there any changes?
Yeah. That one should be at 13,750.
And same,
Same thing, based on last year's numbers and what we're doing. this year. That's staying the same. Very rarely does that happen, but that's basically one road name change. To change a road name, you have to have, everybody who lives on the road name has to agree to it, so the chances of it happening is pretty slim, but.
Watch, you're gonna
My
get a
road
name
name will never
change.
We haven't, I don't think we've done one in several years, so.
Last one we did was trying.
Did they change the name to try?
Yep, travel, and my notes aren't in there either. This is very weird. Okay.
So on Tuesday, we'll make a note that tells everybody to go back in and check them.
I was looking at it today, and I actually made some changes to it today, so it'll be interesting, not this line item, but a different one, so it'll be interesting to see if they're in there. But anyway, that should stay the same. I have one remote employee, so I'm budgeting for her to visit our office once for 1 week this next year. And then we have a users conference that I would like to send 2 people a year to. So
You want to do this one?
So did you had the notes in there for those?
I did.
And they're just not showing up?
yeah,
Okay. That was what I was hearing. So
Yeah.
that's what we're asking for everyone
Yeah.
is to provide the.
I can go back in and re-add
the
all that.
definition of where
No.
the cost comes from.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say it gently because it sounded like he'd already input it,
No, I know, I've just.
but that is our standard
Yeah.
comment for all the reviews.
So it would be the same for the meals and per diem?
Yep, it's one remote employee trip for a week and then 2 user conference.
So on remote employee trip,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make my public service request that please plan well in advance so that the cost of that is not last minute on
They're to and from.
to and
travel.
from. And then,
That'd be driving.
So depending on
person,
how
but yeah.
far away it is,
Yeah.
the reimbursement rate would still be based on the lower,
Okay.
whether or not they flew or drove.
Okay,
So or their mileage reimbursement that you would just
okay,
have to run
yeah,
that.
right on.
so and we're trying to hone in on doing our best to reduce costs across some departments. So we're trying to make the same similar comments on it.
Okay.
So it's not anything on yours, just.
Yeah.
And then your education.
Yeah, that should be at 2,900. And yeah, I went in there and put a bunch of notes in there today, actually, on this. So,
So can you just go back and take a look and put
yeah,
put your
Let's
notes?
double check that we're in the right projection when you were making your edits.
okay,
That's the only thing I can think of, but we'll
okay.
work on that.
Do you want me to explain what I have in there for education to you guys, or you just want to see the notes?
We're gonna end up just saying, let's do the notes.
Okay.
So, and I think that's, on some of the people that didn't do that, the answer is, what we're really looking for is detailed, what's the conference, is it new, what's the
Yeah, and
cost?
I've put all that, because I've watched one of the budget
just
meetings from this
autofill
morning,
that.
and I went in there and I was like, put all that information in there today,
Yeah.
so, okay.
Yeah, and so just do that, and then we'll take a look at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So thank you, but
Yeah.
recognition that you did it already, so thank you.
Yeah.
Or were you adding anything to any of these?
No, there's no, office supplies went down a little bit, $2,250. And, 1,200 of that is our plotter, paper and ink. We have water for $500. I can put this in later if you want. $200 for miscellaneous office supplies like paper and pens and
Like,
Post-it
do you
notes. And
expect that your plotter has a pretty good remaining useful life?
yeah, it's 2 years old. Yeah,
How big does the plot, how big of paper does it use?
42?
42, and it does not scan, right?
No.
And how much is it?
No,
What?
it's not, that's just the paper.
The ink is $1,000 a year. That's one set.
How much was your plot ish?
I want to say it was like 8 or 9,000.
He needs a contact for one, I think.
We're
It's a side, it's a
we're
side.
checking,
Yeah. So, I mean, if you have a contact, you might want his contact for it.
Sure, yeah,
our last contact was Bill Price.
yeah.
Small assets and equipment, or is there any?
Yeah, there's, should be 1,070. And that's 2 office chairs is what I'm budgeting for, and then a cable for our GPS and a extra battery for our GPS.
Teddy, do we have surplus office chairs that we know?
The problem with our office is a few years ago, they went through and bought all new office chairs, but they went and bought like the cheapest ones possible, and so now everybody's back hurts. So I've been budgeting for 2 new office chairs every year to cycle all those out.
From procurement, can we identify, because we should be buying office equipment, not, I made a comment on the last one, like the Amazon, like cheap furniture that doesn't
Yeah,
last.
we found a website where there's refurbished chairs that are normally like $600-700 that are like $200 or $300 for refurbished ones. That's what we've been doing the past couple of years. Yeah, they're super nice chairs. Yeah,
Can we share that with other people so that we're not, so that it's not just people choosing places for nice looking chairs, but office equipment that'll be durable? So that's a really good resource to use. Fantastic. No Amazon.
No gaming chairs allowed.
Yeah, built-in speakers, yeah, we see where it's going.
2175. That's just based on everybody moved to AT&T, and Bob got slightly reduced rates on that this year, so. I'm gonna drop that down to 4,000. That's just based on prior year's use. Also kind of changed how and when we're utilizing our vehicle a little bit.
Repairs and maintenance.
So repairs and maintenance. I increased that to 5,400, and that's mainly because our warranty is out on our truck. We also have a 97.5 scheduled maintenance to do this year. So I threw in like an extra 2,000 padding just for repairs that may pop up. So that's going to be increasing to 7708. Our yearly maintenance on one of our software pieces went up, and that's that increase. Yep, that's just our scanner printer lease.
Do you know if that contract was recently renewed or if that's up for renewal?
I don't know if it was at the beginning of last year. I think it's a 3-year lease.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be renegotiated in this
No,
coming budget
no.
years?
Oh, I do have enhancements for staffing.
We're doing staffing at a different.
Okay, so that's it for enhancements.
All right, Dennis, you ready?
Thank you.
Kudos.
Yeah, why?
You don't want to wait for 5 minutes and have a painful look on your face and have me say something?
And we have to be gentle because they assess our properties. That's what Corey's in the back for, the enforcer.
This is the revaluation proposed budget. The first item that we'll look at would be 5863. 5863, we're adding $12,500 worth of revenue, review fees for family exemptions, road vacations, boundary line adjustments, et cetera, moved from GIS budget because of staff move. discussed earlier.
Figured I would maybe answer questions.
I was like, could he come back?
Thanks, Mike. Next would be 6470. We're there?
No, not quite, but go ahead.
6470 is a new object for this budget. This is a new object for this budget, funded in part by monies moved from object 6460. Covers lodging for 8 students to Boise, 1 IAC conference in 25 and 1 IAC conference in 26. The lodging for 2 IA meetings in 26. Well, actually, there'll be 1. Next item we have would be 6460,
Oh, where you've made a change.
where I've made a change, yeah. No, unless you,
Nope, that's fine.
willing to discuss any of them all down the
On
line, but
the, on
this,
the one that you added for 8 people to go down to the ISTC conference?
yes.
Can you explain more about what that?
Yeah, that's
the new-
that's for statutory required education put on by the Idaho State Tax Commission.
Thank you.
That's where,
I just want, when we add a line that has that money, I
Yeah.
want the community to hear why, not just a travel.
and I apologize, in the version that you have should have that detailed.
It does.
It does. The copy
Well-
I have is a couple hours old, and I
Yeah.
just made those changes, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it says.
Hers, it says it in there. I just wanted you to say it because sometimes the screen is moving fast.
Okay.
And when we say we add a new line that has a good amount in there, we want the community to know that this is a required training because I've asked a lot of questions on training.
Okay,
Dennis wanted it segregated out of just the travel general line to lodging specific.
okay, the next one is 6460, which would be per diem. This object is divided among other objects. The balance covers training and conferences in Boise plus a 10% inflation. And that's our anticipated, whether it's going to be 10% more or less, we don't know, but based on prices of everything, that's what we put in there.
Can you slide back down to his spent?
Yeah. But it's.
That doesn't reflect all of
Because
this.
he's moving it, so he created the lodging line where lodging used to live within this line. So next year it'll look quite a bit different.
So when you're saying your 14, whenever there's rounded numbers, but when your 14 is accommodating, you're rounding it up for your 10% increase in that?
Well,
That was this year.
that's for this year, we're rounding it up,
57
just
is
for
the-
per diem.
But the 5,700 that you're asking for next year, yes.
Yes, yes.
That line includes the 10% cushion?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. And then the next object I have would be 7040. Is that?
Maybe we should just run through, we'll just.
Just a minute, we need to-
Education would be next.
All right. Let me get online here.
Yeah, it looks like there's a number of lines with changes before that.
Okay, so it's maybe 6510? Yeah, 6510. Fees and registration. This is certification in continuing education for 8 people in Boise. These are all mandated class. They have a requirement of 32 hours continuing education to maintain their certification.
And on this, we've also asked, is there Zoom options available?
I don't,
Not normally. We have had a couple of Zooms this year, but we do the best we can with it. So we tried to get a couple that were in this area too. So we do, if people need to go take classes, we will take them.
So part of what we'd like to see on looking at where are local options for training, and then even for where they're not offering that we push can we get more Zoom and not, it's easy to go to Boise because it's already established, but pulling us from here down there impacts your office too. So
Yes.
I don't have an issue. I just want to say we're trying to manage
Yeah.
bringing the local stuff back here.
And that's taken to heart. It also is determined by the type of class. If it's a
Understood.
Zoom class that's, there's not a lot of mathematics in it and new formulas and all that other stuff, that would be appropriate. But we have classes where people in class struggle a great deal with the mathematics and need support from other students or extra help from the instructor, and they can't get that if they're Zooming. But yes, in classes that don't have that, that's a good option.
Dues and membership and licenses.
6520?
Yes.
Okay, 6520 is current Selkirk MLS license. Association fees, IAAO membership, plus an anticipated MLS contract with Kootenai County. I have Kootenai County here, it's actually Coeur d'Alene MLS, which would have an initial, based on, or looking at it, $700 one-time fee, $150 annual fee, and a $45 a month continuation fee, much like what we have with Selkirk. We are dealing with Selkirk right now. I've had both IT and legal review the contract, and they both made comments on it. I've sent that back to the president of the MLS down there, and they're having their legal review it. So hopefully I'll be able to come to you in the next several weeks with a request to enter into a contract with them.
Dennis, you feel like all of that can remain at 2525?
Yeah, because the cost would be, like I said, about the same for the Selkirk one. The association fees generally run 100 or less than 200, 150 a piece.
Is the need for the Coeur d'Alene MLS, is that because their boundaries are different than our county boundaries, so they're running?
Actually, no. The reason is that our current MLS system, Selkirk, I don't know if I should say this publicly. We only get about 60% of the actual sales, okay, out of that. What we've discovered is that Coeur d'Alene MLS has about 143% more Bonner County sales than our local MLS has. And so,
Okay.
and then how they treat an associate member is different than how the local MLS treats an associate member. So, I mean, it's a huge, huge advantage to us.
Gotcha.
One of our objectives is to be as fair and equitable and accurate as possible, and the more sales data we have,
Right.
the more we can get, close to that objective.
Okay.
Does Boundary County use MLS?
Boundary County has Selkirk MLS, Selkirk Realtors MLS. MLS is actually a different animal. I mean, they're two different organizations, but any agent that is a member of the real estate industry in Coeur d'Alene, in Bonner County, is a member of the MLS. So,
Gotcha. So they have geographic overlap, and
oh, yes.
there's
Selkirk-
gaps in the data
yeah.
depending on which
Kootenai
MLS.
County,
someone worked in.
Kootenai County goes all the way up through Boundary County.
But you're only doing Coeur d'Alene now.
We're asking for the data from Coeur d'Alene, and that data has data for Coeur d'Alene, which we don't care about. It has data for Boundary County, what we don't care about, but it has significantly more data in sales in Boundary County, or Bonner County, than we are getting from our current MLS.
So so when it says Kootenai County, it's that you're just looking at Coeur d'Alene?
Yeah, it's Coeur d'Alene MLS. I
'Cause you-
misquote
you-
that.
You want me to fix it?
No.
Yeah,
Because that's what I was just trying to get at. It's that, it's not Kootenai County, it's Coeur d'Alene MLS that you're trying to.
Yes, thank you,
Okay,
yeah.
Can we change that? Thank you.
So then, if I'm understanding correctly, depending on the agent involved in the sale and which MLS they're working with.
Yeah.
You have to get to both data sets to get as much complete sales data as
Right.
possible within our county.
Yeah, and most productive agents are members of both. I mean, it's costly, but they get a heck of a lot of data to help them in their sales.
Gotcha.
Let's see.
530.
6530 reduced based on the average of the past 3 years. And then 6720. That's laser measuring devices and emergency equipment for the 8 new vehicles that we have.
So we don't already have, can you just add in what is the cost for those? And then,
Yeah, the measuring,
just in your note, when you.
sure, yeah.
Thank you.
Let's see, 6790, is that where you're at?
Yes.
Yeah, 6790, reduced to $1,000, covers monthly lease and monthly average of copies made, which is driven by the number of parcels, inquiries, and PDR workload. We changed up a little. We do a lot of the PDR. We actively engage the community to find those that are eligible for that property tax reduction. Generally, they're 65 or older people that really need that advantage. And that requires a lot of time, a lot of paper in the past. But this year, we were able to do a lot of that electronically when filing with the state, so that's going to reduce our costs there. Okay. 6,800, that's envelopes, business cards, increased 10% based on inflation. And then 6,900, a reduced price under a new contract. Then 7,000 would be the next, I believe. Reduced based on average for the past years plus a 5% price for I have fluctuation there, it should be inflation.
Thank you for making sure to put a cushion in for things we can't control.
Yeah. Okay.
Price fluctuation. You don't have price fluctuation.
Okay, 7040, for items not covered under the maintenance agreement, such as oil change, this is for our new vehicles, such as oil changes, tires, brakes, air filters, and car wash, things that are normal wear stuff is not covered under the maintenance agreement. Everything else is covered under the maintenance agreement. Let's see. 7110 for 2 shredding services and 1 locksmith reprogramming service. We estimated 1. We only changed the lock combination. If we should happen to have a disgruntled employee leave, then we want to change that lock combination. And 2 shreddings seem to be working for us at this moment. We've had 1 done this year, and I don't know when we're going to do the next one. 7780, no, nothing there. Sorry. That's a note from 23.
Contract services.
Contract services. We have Eagle View, which is $240,600, and Rock Cloud Services, which is $55,752. That's essential for our GIS. Okay. A 7830, publications, no change, use for articles, news articles, and job postings when necessary. There have been times in the past where we just weren't getting any responses to our applicants, and so we try to publish statewide or even nationally.
So then you guys were supplementing the normal HR efforts essentially?
Yes. Yeah, there's only so much that they can do. There are only so many venues where they can advertise, and so when we want to reach beyond that, we have to fund that. Okay, 7860, miscellaneous expenses. That's for yellow safety vest and bear spray replacements. And I can put numbers in there for you if you want.
That's a little lower hanging fruit.
Are bear your biggest concern, Dennis, or?
We can't say that on the record. It's bears. I knew you were going to make a joke about that. I saw it coming. We know they're 2 per bottle at Costco for $49.
How much?
49.
For
Yeah, they do.
2, 49.
2? Really? What size? Ounce?
Yeah, oh, you did, well, maybe we should put prices. They're this size, you get 2 high
So about
quals.
8 ounces.
No, I think they're more than 8 ounces. The Costco ones,
Well, we'll take a look at that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they go on sale too.
I don't know, it's probably
They do expire. That's
They do.
the problem we have is all of ours are expired. And you
Just
can, I
have-
mean, they may work.
But
can
don't you
rely
guys
on it
work
if you
in
want to.
pairs?
Pairs? Yeah, that's.
Pairs. Pairs, as in 2 of you. Just
Bears add to
saying.
the property value or decrease the property value?
It makes for a quick assessment. 86.
Well, since you put it that way.
8670. This is Master Touch print and mail of assessment notices. And that's generally been in the $30,000 mark. Let's see, 8820, GIS licensing, annual payment on a 3-year GIS license contract increased $700 to cover underfunding last year. For some reason, I put it in as $39,000 last year, and it's actually $39,700. Okay,
It's 9350 your copy of your leases,
93.
capital lease expenditures.
Oh, 93, yeah. Yes, I'm sorry. No change on that.
Can you put a note in there to say what it is?
Yes. Okay. And then 9390, no change. BOC approved lease option for 8 new vehicles for 2 years, 2-year term. Yeah, and then I'll just make a note on the grand total, we're looking at a negative .12 difference in the budget.
Okay.
Great.
Anything you want to add? Because we've got treasurer next.
I do have enhancements.
Are they all wages?
Yes, these are all related
Let me pause you one. Are you okay waiting? Okay.
These are all related to wages and stuff.
Oh, we're not doing salaries though.
Okay.
That one we're not
So
doing.
enhancements relative to wages will wait?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we done? Okay, so it's 2:03 and this meeting is adjourned. Yep. We scheduled